All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me make sure I can see myself on the YouTube side. Let me make sure the technology is working the way that we want it to. All right. There is the red live icon. And for maximum coverage, I'm going to share this over on my original YouTube channel, Big Discussions 76, in case anyone over there wants to partake and talk some science and a little bit of politics and a little bit of economics on this Saturday morning. So let me just do this really, really quickly. Let me slow down. Let me do this really, really quickly. Let me pronounce all of my words. As I'll describe to you guys, I've been doing that all week, and there's a story behind that. Okay. All right. Wow. Look at all these likes. I appreciate the likes. It's always cool when you get likes before you start cooking. All right. Andre from our neighbors up north. Thank you for checking in. I was watching you guys last night. What did I just do? It's been a while since I've done this. So okay, how does this work? Okay, yeah, I'm on this channel, so I have to share it on this channel. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay. Andre, I was watching you guys last night on Art Newstall's channel. You guys were talking about old school R&B music, and it got a little testy in there, but doing two things at once here. And Andre, I was thinking, if you're still there, I was thinking, who were some of the great R&B groups or music acts? I mean, Canada has created, or should I say, a lot of notable performers have come out of Canada, but I couldn't think specifically of any R&B groups, since that's what the guys were talking about last night. So, but a lot of talent in general has come out of Canada. Canada gets a bad rap sometimes, and Canada gets made fun of and mocked for certain reasons. Your current prime minister, Mr. Trudeau, he gets criticized and mocked sometimes. He's very, very liberal. But anyway, thank you for being here. I appreciate the clicks and I appreciate the likes. If anyone pops in at any time, please at least leave a like and maybe give this a share. Okay, everyone. I'm going to talk about fracking today. I'm not an expert in fracking. My backgrounds are in the biomedical sciences, but I think I was driving around yesterday in my 2020 Kia Forte, which has a combustion engine. And I was thinking, you know what? I haven't live streamed over on my STEM channel lately. And what would be a good topic to talk about now? And then the light bulb turned on. I said, oh, fracking. Fracking has been in the news. And I think at least you two gentlemen there in the chat, you know why. And I'm going to talk about that. So I'm just going to have a short talk about fracking. And then I'm going to wrap up because, well, I have some other things to do. I'm going to describe that. And it's a football Saturday. Michigan is playing at noon. So I will see you guys on the other side of the intro. Please hang around and also make this interactive and let me know what you think there in the chat. UFO Kamikaze, Andre, let me give you guys some shine here. I appreciate the support, Andre. That picture, Andre, is kind of, I liked the Wolverine Deadpool picture. This one with the golden eyes, I don't know what to make of that one. And UFO Kamikaze, thank you for stopping through and humoring me on this. We as Black people, science isn't necessarily a popular topic in our group, in terms of us as a group, as, should I say it here, as freedmen or ADOS or FBA or whatever you want to, descendants of slaves, for whatever reason, science isn't a popular topic within our ethnic group. So I appreciate you guys humoring me here. Okay, I will see you guys on the other side of the intro. I need to update this, but you guys have heard this before, and I'll see you on the other side, and I will jump in.
So Anwar, I see you have the periodic tables on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that all about? Why are you walking around with a chemistry chart on your chest?
Well, Cheryl, so this channel is a STEM channel. So when I was conceiving of it and figuring out how to grow it, I figured I should have some T-shirts to go with it. So the periodic table is critical to most of the scientific fields.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology are all around us all of the time, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. Everybody, please smash that like button if you haven't. No matter how long you stay, if I bore you, whatever, please at least leave a like. So AB Media is here. So AB, we're going to start off in your favorite sandbox. But before I get into that, yeah, guys, I've been away for a while. Over the summertime, I was working on finishing this. This is my book project, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story. And as a first-time self-publisher, this has been a gargantuan task. So towards the end of the summer, you noticed I kind of dropped off the radar in terms of creating content. Well, part of that was I was working on finishing this, but also I tend to go away and take a little vacation out west to see my best friend at the end of the summer. And then as a part, writing is a complex thing. And it's an integral part of science. Much of my graduate education, in addition to doing the experiments, involved writing and writing clearly. And so when you write a book, no matter how, no matter how cool your idea is, no matter how powerful your story is, if it's not clean on the back end, you're going to lose people, and people will lose respect for you as a writer and as a thinker, and they'll say, "Wow, nobody proofread this." So, and people will form opinions about you based upon how you write, in terms of grammar and syntax, and where commas go, and where colons go, and semicolons, and apostrophes, and everything. So, for the last couple of weeks, I've been proofreading this thing. You guys will hear a little more about this because this experience was critical in me becoming a scientist. And a major part of science, before I jump in, is QA/QC. And a major part of science and a major part of writing, especially for what I do now in my federal capacity, is QA/QC. Does anybody know what QA and QC are? QA/QC, that's an acronym for something. Anybody? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but QA/QC, anybody? And AB Media, I promise we're gonna jump off in your sandbox really well at the beginning, because that's what inspired this. Diaspora L just got to it. QA/QC is an acronym for quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance and quality control. So what that basically means is making sure everything is clean and quality before it goes out. That could be the McDonald's French fries. Since we're okay, AB Media, if you're still there, it's funny that I just mentioned McDonald's French fries. That was random. But you want to make sure, if you're working at a McDonald's, you want to make sure all the fries are nice and crisp before they go out to the customer. And you want to make sure they're all the same in terms of quality. If you're writing a document, you want to make sure it's been proofread and it's been someone's gone over it for grammar and syntax, and that it's clear. And the same thing is true when you're writing a book. Someone has to do the QA QC on the back end so that it's not raggedy when it goes out. So you can either outsource that or you can do it in-house. But there's also copy editing and structure editing. But I'm saying that to say I've been jammed up with that for the last month. Okay. Who inspired or what inspired this morning's live stream? Who's been talking about fracking recently? And why have they been talking about fracking recently? AB Media, I don't know if you're still out there, but this is for you. So I got this idea in part from Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. Fracking. Why is she concerned about fracking? Why has she felt the need to talk about fracking? And why does she care? Why do we care? Why should we all care? There is a picture of Madam Vice President Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, from the great state of Minnesota. I am not going to say anything disparaging about Madam Vice President Harris. This is her site in case any of you have not seen it. It says there are 38 days left until the climax on November 5th. So there are 38 days left. One of the criticisms Madam Vice President Harris has gotten is that there are no policies, or there were no policies on her website. So I did take a quick look through this before I started the stream. So let's scroll down from Madam Vice President Harris and Tim Walz. He has a nickname too. I won't say it here. So you can donate if any of you guys feel inclined to donate. There's her at a rally. Well, that's during a vice presidential. Yeah, well, that's probably a rally. There are folks at one of her rallies. 20. Let's see, mandate for leadership. The conservative compromise. I don't know what that is, but okay, you can make donations if you want. There's some merch. Okay, you could shop and buy a Harris Walz sign for your yard. There's a Harris Walz T-shirt. These might be collector's items one day. There are like little wristbands you can put around your wrist. But, well, shoot, where was it? Where is it? Issues. Okay. That's another thing you learn as a writer. And that's that when you're editing something, some things, you have to read things multiple times because some errors are what's the term? They're hiding in plain sight. So that subheading was hiding in plain sight. So issues. So one of the criticisms was that she hasn't posted any policy points. Please smash that like button if you haven't. It looks like there are policy points here now. There's Madam Vice President Harris there looking lovely in her that's powder blue or it's not teal, but it's a powder blue suit. Okay, opportunity economy. Build an opportunity economy and lower costs for families. We've heard a lot about that. So these are policy points. I think these have probably been presented recently. A month or so ago, one of the criticisms she was getting is that there were no policy points on her website. So I'm going to sprint through this. Cut taxes for middle-class families, make rent more affordable and home ownership more attainable, grow small businesses and invest in entrepreneurs. Take on bad actors. I love that term. Take on bad actors and bring down costs. Strengthen and bring down the cost of healthcare. Protect and strengthen Social Security and Medicare. Support American innovation and workers. Provide a pathway to the middle class through quality, affordable education. And invest in affordable childcare and long-term care. And here's the one that is germane for this discussion. Lower energy costs and tackle the climate crisis. So lower energy costs and tackle the climate crisis. And those two are very much intertwined. And we know that the Democratic side in particular, at least in recent times, has been the most outspoken side about protecting the environment, but also now it seems there's a need or a desire to lower energy costs. Okay. And then right there in the red, you see the last item is Trump's Project 2025 agenda. So we're not going to unpack that. All right. I'm not going to attempt to unpack that. So energy. Guys, I'm going to ask this question to the audience. Why does energy matter? And why is energy such a critical issue here? Why does energy matter? And why is it such a critical issue? And why would Madam Vice President Harris have that on her website? Energy, 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 energy. Why does energy matter? Are there any takers out there? Let's learn something. Let's teach each other. If anyone wants to make a donation to the channel, you are under no pressure to do so. My Cash App and PayPal are here. I'm going to read some of your comments. Let's see. Why does energy matter? UFO Kamikaze says, no humor here. I've been a science junkie since middle school. Andre tells a joke here. He says, make sure you pull out the correct toppings on that Big Mac. Let's see. He says both Kamala and Trump. Kamala, I'm sorry. From what I've seen, AV Media says I'm still here because she was fracking. Leonard Deyuda, thank you for being here. I haven't seen you before. Says fracking poisons water sources unnecessarily. So I'm going to read something about that. Let's see. Andre, here's one of Tim's nicknames. Energy for us as human beings, energy impacts everything. It impacts our ability to drive ourselves around. Energy impacts our ability to do live streams on YouTube. Energy impacts the usage of our cell phones. Okay. Energy impacts our comings and goings in terms of flying around the world. Energy impacts passport bros. Without energy, passport bros couldn't use their passports. Okay. Energy impacts people on dialysis. You need energy to run those dialysis machines and to keep the lights on and to run the air conditioning. You need energy for agriculture. You need energy for the garbage men to come pick up the garbage. Otherwise, garbage would pile up in every community and in every neighborhood. You need energy to transport your goods from the port to your supermarket, to your Target, to your Walmart. So energy impacts everything. And if your energy prices go up, you as a consumer are going to feel it in your wallet. That was one of the issues when President Biden got elected. That was one of the issues with shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, because it left us as a country now dependent upon countries across the pond, like in the Middle East and like Russia. That's why that whole Nord Stream, all that stuff, that's why all of that mattered. So energy impacts everyone and everything. And that's why Madam Vice President Harris has to take a position on that. And that's why the orange man, Don Cheeto, that's why one of his goals is to make us energy independent. Okay. So people need to think about that. I mean, people have different reasons for voting, but I think it's important to think about the long-term ramifications of some of the policies. So, okay. So that's energy. So a quick science review. Shout out to Marcus Williams from Johnson C. Smith University, my HBCU. There's my golden bull there. There's my golden bull. I was talking to two guys at the cigar lounge last night. I earned my bachelor's degree in general biology from Johnson C. Smith University. Shout out to Marcus Williams. You only rep Michigan. You never represent our HBCU, JCSU. So I earned my bachelor's degree in general biology from the University of Michigan. I earned my bachelor's degree in general biology from Johnson C. Smith University, and I earned my PhD from the University of Michigan. I was talking to two guys about that last night. Some of the fundamental lessons we learned as I earned my bachelor's were the photosynthesis and respiration reaction. Okay, so light energy, plants take light energy and carbon dioxide, and they generate oxygen and glucose. Every living thing lives off of glucose, right? This is the photosynthesis and respiration reaction. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 over in the right direction. That's cellular respiration. Okay. That generates carbon dioxide and water. We humans, we do that, but plants do that too. All living things do that. And then the photosynthesis reaction is taking six CO2 and 6 waters and creating that glucose and oxygen in the reverse direction. And at the end of the day, I told two guys this last night. This is one of the conundrums about this whole carbon dioxide bit. Guys in the chat, carbon dioxide at the end of the day is what? Anybody? What is carbon dioxide at the end of the day based upon what I just showed you? And we're going to get to the fracking very, very soon because I have other things to do today, like order books. Carbon dioxide at the end of the day is what? Anybody? I just showed it to you. At the end of the day, carbon dioxide is plant food. Okay, plants use that to make glucose and corn and soybeans and strawberries and apples and grapefruit and pineapple. Carbon dioxide at the end of the day is plant food. Okay, so that's something to think about when you're listening in on these passionate discussions. It's plant food at the end of the day. All right. So I've already talked about this. At least most of our vehicles, we're seeing an infusion of electric vehicles now. But as of now, most of our vehicles run via combustion reactions. Okay, fossil fuels are combined with oxygen through igniting those fossil fuels. Okay, that causes your pistons to go, that causes your wheels to turn. Okay, and that gives off carbon dioxide and water out of your tailpipe. So where does that energy, where do those fossil fuels come from? Okay, well, probably around 10 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, you started seeing these Shell commercials online about shale looking for energy sources. That didn't really register to me what that was. But when you see those Shell and those BP commercials talking about looking for energy sources and doing research on shale, what they were talking about was hydraulic fracking or hydraulic fracturing. Okay. So one way you find fossil fuels is you go out into the Gulf of Mexico, or you go into the Middle East and you drill down deep into the crust of the earth and you find fossil fuels there. But there are also fossil fuel deposits on land, okay, right here in the United States and probably in other parts of the world on land. So another way to find those fossil fuels that we need to right now power our vehicles and a lot of our other gadgets is another way to find those sources are through fracking. Okay, this is a picture of fracking here from Investopedia. You can see there that there's a drill. That drill is going down deep into the into the soil, into the land. And as I'll share with you all, the way this works is you drill and then you pump liquid down into the ground, and that liberates fossil fuel sources deep into the ground. Okay, so that there are some considerations with this. While it is a way, it's another way to get our fossil fuels, there are concerns that there are damaging effects to the environment and to human health as well. So I have a link here from Investopedia. I'm going to try to sprint through this. I probably won't read it verbatim, the entire thing, because I don't think you guys want to hear me read that long, but this link will be in the description box below. Please keep letting me know what you guys think there in the chat. Please smash that like button no matter how long you come in. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Andre says they should have never shut down the Keystone Keystone pipeline. True dope as well. Okay, there's a lot there. Diaspora L says energy, the primary conductor of both the second machine age and the fourth industrial revolution. I think this is in response to my comment about, at the end of the day, what is carbon dioxide? Aquateki says it's a greenhouse gas. Now, Aquateki, when you listen to some of these, that's not even a consensus. I'll just say that this right here, that carbon dioxide being a greenhouse gas, there's no consensus on that, because there are scientists who argue that one of the other gases is a greenhouse gas and is much better at trapping energy, heat energy and light energy than carbon dioxide. Does anybody know what that other gas is that is thought by some scientists think is a better greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide? Does anybody know what that molecule is? No, it's not methane, Aquateki. And you have to listen to scientific discussions from the other side, and you have to listen to scientific discussions that aren't propped up by the mainstream media to hear these alternative theories. Does anybody know what the other potentially more powerful greenhouse gas is besides carbon dioxide? And then we'll get into the fracking and what it is. Go Professor, thank you for being here. Guys, this is another thing that's hiding in plain sight right in front of us. What is the other potential, far more significant greenhouse gas besides carbon dioxide? All right, I have no takers here. I mean, and we typically don't think of it as that. But here's a question I asked one of the gentlemen at the cigar lounge last night. The surface of the planet Earth, what is it mostly covered by? That's a hint. The surface of the planet Earth, what is it mostly covered by? Come on, you brilliant scientific minds. Everybody knows this. What's the surface of the Earth mostly covered by? I think I have a taker here. Two takers. That's right. The majority of the surface of our beautiful pale blue dot, shout out to Carl Sagan, is water. So there are scientists who argue that water itself traps more energy and more heat than carbon dioxide does. Okay, there are whole talks on that. All right. So why did I go down that alleyway? Okay, I was going over your comments. Okay, fracking. Let me get to this so I can wrap up. I have to order some books later on, and Michigan comes on at noon. All right, fracking. Let's learn a little bit about fracking. This is off of Investopedia. And when I looked up references yesterday, I thought it was interesting that Investopedia would have an article on fracking, but it goes back to the considerations that I shared with you guys a couple of minutes ago. And that's that energy. This is why energy is such a big deal. This is why our country has gone to wars in the Middle East. This is why our country has probably, I need to be careful here. This is probably why our country has worked to manipulate. Should I say that? Okay. This is why our country has worked to influence politics and policies in other countries, such as in the Middle East, because the energy costs are critical to our way of life here in this country. So that's why Investopedia, okay, in addition to individuals who have money that they want to invest in things, that's why Investopedia will have an article on fracking, because energy impacts everything. All right. And this link is below in the description box. I'm going to sprint through this. And I'll probably hop around a little bit. You guys can read this if you want. Okay, this is off of Investopedia. Fracking. Overview, advantages, and disadvantages. All right. Fracking is short for hydraulic fracturing, which is the process of creating fractures in rocks and rock formations by injecting specialized fluid into cracks to force them to open further. The larger fissures allow more oil and gas to flow out of the formations into the well bore. It is easier to extract oil and gas there. Fracking has resulted in many oil and gas wells attaining a state of economic viability due to the level of extraction that can be reached. It has also allowed drilling firms access to previously difficult to reach sources of oil and gas. So right there, that paragraph right there is why Madam Vice President Harris has had to talk about this. And there's some more about this later on. I'm going to read that again. Fracking has resulted in many oil and gas wells attaining a state of economic viability due to the level of extraction that can be reached. Okay, so the key takeaways: fracking is a slang term for hydraulic fracturing, which is the process of creating fractures in rocks and rock formations by injecting specialized fluid into cracks to force them to open further. Fracking increases the rate at which water, petroleum, or natural gas can be recovered from subterranean wells. Okay, this right here. This is why Madam Vice President Harris has had to talk about this. Okay, and in some ways reverse her earlier position on it. Fracking has also helped to revitalize local economies in some parts of the United States. And I think Pennsylvania is one of the articles cited. Pennsylvania is one of the states cited in this article. Okay. So a lot of communities have been decimated by NAFTA and jobs going overseas, but fracking has helped restore the economies of some communities. All right. And then finally, most of the opposition to fracking revolve around its potential negative impacts on the environment. Okay. How much of this am I going to read for you guys? Okay. I'm gonna this link is in the description box below, so you guys can investigate it further for yourselves. Okay. I am going to read these two paragraphs, and then I'm going to jump down, I think, to the economic considerations. So understanding fracking. Okay. Fracking is an extraction technique for oil and gas wells in which rocks are fractured artificially using pressurized liquid. The process involves drilling down into the earth and injecting a highly pressurized mixture of water, sand, and thickening agent, also called fracking fluid, into a well bore to create cracks in rock formations. Once the hydraulic pressure is removed from the well, the remnants of the fracking fluid hold the fractures open, making it easy to extract the oil and gas inside. Fractures can also exist naturally in formations, and both natural and human-made fractures can be widened by fracking. As a result, it is also to extract more oil and gas from a given area of land. Fracturing shallow and hard rock wells to extract oil dates back to the 1860s. During that time, nitroglycerin or dynamite was used to increase oil and natural gas output from petroleum-bearing formations. In the late 1940s, petroleum engineers used fracking as a means to increase well production. In 1947, the practice of hydraulic fracturing started as an experiment by Floyd Harris of Staniland Oil and Gas Corporation. The first successful implementation of the process took place in 1950. Then fracking has been performed worldwide on oil and gas wells. Okay, so there is a beautiful picture of fracking. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. I'm going to blow this up for you guys. Right? So hydraulic fracturing, there you see the humans there and their oil tanker. So they have their water and chemicals. It's going into that apparatus there. And then they are drilling into that well. And then they are pumping those fluids down into the ground. And then you see that arrow there. You have those the water, sand, and chemicals are injected into the well. And then the gas flows back out. And so you have your top layer there. You have your secondary layer where there's it says water aquifer, and then you have that gas-rich layer at the bottom. So this is what we're talking about. I mean, I think when again, when this is why it's important as a voter to be informed. This is why it's important to read, because when our candidates and elected officials are talking about all these things, I'm sure a lot of this is going over the head of a good number of potential voters out there. But it's a fascinating science topic, but again, it also has a huge impact on our pocketbooks, on HIP National Bank, okay? But also potentially on the environment. Let's see. Gold Professor says, check your Cash App when you have a chance, sir. Thank you, Gold Professor. Let me check it right now. Let me, I think that means you might have put something in my stocking. Thank you, Gold Professor. Let me pronounce my words. Let me enunciate my words. Thank you, Gold Professor, for the generous Cash App. Yeah, guys, it's much appreciated. As I've made this transition from blogger and YouTube content creator to author, I've had to make some business decisions, and I didn't intend to sign up for another year of StreamYard. I was going to use the free version, but you know, when you're clicking those boxes, something didn't take, and I paid for another year of StreamYard, which I didn't intend to do. But Go Professor, thank you for that generous donation. Every little bit helps. Okay, so a lot of this goes over people's heads. A lot of voters, a lot of people don't read today. A lot of people don't understand science, and that's what they're talking about, and that's why she had to some degree reverse her position on that, because I think she's seeing, and her team is seeing, Americans care about economics, and energy impacts everything, especially economics. Let's see. Andre says, I was thinking of getting into oil and gas. So this is interesting. Does that mean you were looking to major in this in college, Andre, or some sort of were you going to study some sort of a skill trade to get you into that field? Aquateki says one con of fracking, burning tap water. Okay. Andre says literally burning, or do you mean contaminated? Aquateki says both contaminated well water with methane, natural gas. Gold Professor says, okay, thank you, Gold Professor. Aquateki says, I saw a new report where a homeowner turned on their faucet and ignited the gas as the water flowed. Hey, everybody, we're learning. We're all learning here. My backgrounds are in the biomedical sciences. So thank you for sharing this, Aquateki. This is a part of the discussion right here. I believe in sharing all of the information. And if we're doing this, if we're going to do this, we have to figure out how to do it safely. UFO Kamagazi says, I worked with a well drilling company over the summer a few years ago, and I learned a lot. UFO Kamikaze, if you want to share some of what you learned in the chat there, feel free to do so. If I finish early, I might drop the link so some of you guys could say a few words, but I won't go along because I have to do some things here. Supporting brothers in media. Thank you, Go Professor, Andre. Everybody's saluting one another. Okay, let's go back. Again, this link is in the description box below in case you guys want to read it and bookmark it for yourselves. Okay, so let me get rid of our pretty cartoon there. Okay, I think I touched upon those earlier. Disadvantages of fracking. I think this is something Aquateki was getting to. Most of the opposition to fracking revolves around its potential negative impact on the environment. Fracking typically produces methane emissions. Aquateki just talked about this in the chat, which reduce air quality. Furthermore, methane gas contributes significantly to global warming. I had to clear my throat there. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Fracking also consumes billions of gallons of water each year that might otherwise be available for human consumption. Moreover, wastewater from the fracking process can leak into surrounding water sources and contaminate drinking water. Finally, fracking can potentially lead to earthquakes. However, there is controversy over whether or not the earthquakes are directly caused by the fracking or caused by the disposal of wastewater generated by the fracking process. I feel a sneeze coming. Fracking is also darn. It was hiding in there. Fracking is also a relatively costly way to extract oil, so its economic viability is threatened whenever oil prices fall too low. For instance, the dramatic decline in oil prices in early 2020 caused concern about permanent damage to the fracking industry. In general, oil prices respond strongly to shifts in supply and demand. That means we can expect additional sudden price changes in the future. As a practical matter, it is also difficult to find new uses for specialized equipment, used for fracking. Okay, I'm going to read these last two and then I'm going to stop. Okay. Andre says, I was thinking of just getting in the industry in general. Even the lowest man in oil makes $30 to $50 an hour here to start. That's why I'm all for it, but it's hard work. Yeah, I've heard that there are workers energy workers in North Dakota and South Dakota. There are men who go there to work in drilling and I guess maybe fracking. Those aren't the most desirable states to live in, but those men go and make good money when they go and work there. So this industry does pay well. Let me properly enunciate my words. Okay, 2 more and then I'm going to stop, because this gets back to the economic implications of this. All right. So how does fracking affect oil and gas prices? Fracking has allowed for the cost-effective extraction of harder-to-reach deposits of oil and gas, which has increased the supply of available fossil fuels in general. Greater supply leads to lower prices. However, several other factors also impact the price of oil and gas. All right. How does fracking decrease U.S. reliance on foreign oil and gas? Fracking has resulted in a significant increase. Fracking has resulted in a significant increase to American domestic oil and gas production, greatly reducing reliance on imported oil and gas. Today, the U.S. has actually become a net exporter of fossil fuels, in part due to fracking. See, I didn't even know that. Now, I thought there was something here. It might have been in the other article I had, where it stated that this has helped revitalize some economies. Give me a second, guys, while I locate that, and then I think I'll drop the link for a few minutes. But you guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. I have a Gmail account just for articles that I if I think it's going to be useful, it's a way for me to save it. So let me forward it here. Okay. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. Let me wait for this. Let me wait for this. Let me wait. Yeah, let me see if this comes through over here. Yep, there it is. Fracking 101. Okay. Okay. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. I think, well, let me, before I show that picture, okay, give me just a moment. Earthquakes. Okay, well, okay. Well, this second reference is much longer. I thought about reading this one, but I opted against it because this is content and the content has to be friendly to the audience as well. But I think it said at the beginning of this piece from Investopedia. Yeah, it says fracking has also helped to revitalize local economies in some parts of the United States. I want to show the second piece really quickly, I think, because it gets to some of the things Aquateki mentioned there in the chat. So this is entitled Fracking 101. There is a picture of a real world fracking operation. Okay, so we saw the cartoon. This is a real setup right here. Looks very gray and cloudy there, maybe somewhere in the Midwest or in North Dakota or South Dakota. I think this is an image right here of what Aquateki was talking about. Maybe that's water coming from a water in a locality or a municipality where fracking is being done and the water is flammable. Okay, and that might be a reason why each of us has to filter our water. So this gets into, I will probably leave this below the stream. This is a more in-depth discussion of what it is. There's another pretty cartoon. Okay, so this reference right here, I think this is leaning more on the environmental side and talking about the dangers of fracking, because in this cartoon, you could see there's a house here where people are living. And I think they're making the argument that fossil fuels and other chemicals can leak into standing bodies of water here and residential neighborhoods and farmland here. I think that's what that cartoon is trying to show. This gets into equipment. I think that's a picture of water with chemicals in it. Well, it says here, a jar of wastewater from hydraulic fracturing as recycling at a recycling site in Midland, Texas. With fresh water not as plentiful, companies have been looking for ways to recycle their waste. Okay. This is probably a video on why fracking is bad, water supply depletion. Let's see. This infographic says in 2016, the average Permian Basin fracking job used 10,496,987.6 gallons of water. That's enough to fill 16 Olympic swimming pools. So water contamination is a concern. Let's see. This says there's a picture there. When gas wells malfunction, a gas well malfunctions, allowing wastewater to spray into the air in 2013. Okay, so there are dangers with any energy production operation, even drilling for oil. Okay, that's a well pad. Air pollution. Okay, there's a lady there. Lynn Buick's home in Karnes County, Texas, is situated between 3 fracking wells. She often uses a respirator since her breathing became difficult, allegedly as a result of the chemicals and hydrogen sulfide gas released from wells. Earthquakes, and I wanted to get down here, fracking in the United States. So lower 48 states shale plays. You could see there's fracking happening in Pennsylvania. It looks like West Virginia, Michigan, Indiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Wyoming, Colorado, and up in North Dakota. Okay, so this is a big deal in our country. Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, California, North Dakota, Florida. There's some in Florida. All right. So that underscores why this is a big deal. And it also underscores and gets to why Madam Vice President Harris would have to, I'm not making this political, but why she would have to soften her position on that particular issue. All right. I don't know who's still there, but I will, for a few minutes, for just a little bit longer, I'll drop the link in case anyone wants to come up and say something about this topic. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. Okay, there is the link. If anyone wants to come up and say something, but make sure it adds to the discussion, and don't disparage Madam Vice President Harris. I want to keep this nonpartisan. So I just pinned it to the top. Well, no, that's the wrong one. Unpin. There, so that's been pinned. AB Media, our political pundit. Good morning, AB Media. What say you?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Um, as you said, I'm trying to make this as nonpartisan as possible. It's uh, it's interesting because a lot of people talk about fracking's bad and stuff, but on the other hand, there are benefits to fracking that help the economy. And I think some of people's complaints with particularly with the implemented Green New Deal package that Congress and the Senate passed, bipartisanly or however you want to call it, is it doesn't consider the energy it takes to run our society. A lot of the technologies they want to switch to don't produce the same amount of energy that we're on that the stuff like coal and fracking does right now. And in my opinion, you have to find a balance. Also, as you've pointed out on your channel, EV cars aren't always the most environment friendly either. So I think we have to find another way to find a balance, and whatever that turns out to be, who knows?
Yeah, AB, thank you for saying that. That's a good point. And I think the take home is that these are complex energy. This is a
They
complex
are.
topic, and there are multiple sides to it. And oftentimes in the mainstream media, only one side is presented. But if you listen to scientists talk, okay, scientists who have a background in this, they all say the same thing: solar and wind. Until you can figure out a way to harness it and store it,
Hmm.
it's not gonna be sufficient for the needs of our current society. There will be energy shortages. There will be blackouts,
Right.
and people will get unhappy really quickly. And I think Germany experimented with this,
Yes.
and they've been feeling the pain from trying to go to all of the renewables and solar and wind. And especially when I think the Nord Stream pipeline got blown up when all the stuff
Yeah.
over there in the Eastern Bloc erupted. So things can get pretty rough when the energy gets cut off,
Yes.
or if there isn't enough of it. So I think that's, even though you hear candidates pander to the environmental side and say, well, we need to do this, we need to do that, we're gonna reduce, you know, combustion engines. At the end of the day, they still know if there are food shortages, if there are
Hmm.
blackouts, things could turn pretty ugly in our country.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, just and to give you an idea of where everything's going, when it comes to AI, a lot of companies are now looking at nuclear plants, and the reason why they're doing that is actually very simple. They need the power. AI is a resource hog. I can tell you, I got my laptop that I'm running on now has 40 gigabytes of RAM, and even with 40 gigabytes of RAM, AI is a is a resource hog. It just is the way it's built right now. So I just heard about Microsoft trying to restart a part of a plant, nuclear plant, for AI storage.
Yeah. Well, AB, it's funny, what you just mentioned, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a movie. You know which one?
Uh, Not off the top of my head right now.
The original Matrix movie.
Oh,
Because that's what that was about. That was about, at least in the first movie, it was about Morpheus. When Neo took the red pill,
oh,
he told he
yeah. He
told
told
uh
about.
he told them about the history of what happened. And after the
Hmm.
nuclear war, the AI determined that
Yes.
it had to use humans as its energy source. And he went into this long discussion about the average human generates X amount of BTUs. And so that's what that was about. The Matrix in addition to, the messages about actual reality versus perceived reality, the story was actually based in energy.
Yes.
And another thing is something else that's going to consume more energy going forward that the Trump side and the Elon Musk side are advocating for is the cryptocurrency. That stuff uses a lot of energy. So
blockchains, crypto,
blockchain,
blockchains.
crypto. So everyone, if you haven't, go back and take a look. I probably did it last year. I hosted a gentleman, a former colleague named Connor Williams. He works in nuclear now out in flyover country, but he was saying that nuclear has to be, he was arguing that nuclear has to be a significant part of our energy strategy going forward. A lot of folks don't want to hear that because they're afraid of nuclear, but if the fossil fuels run out, and I don't think we'll really see that in our lifetime, from what I'm hearing.
Right.
But you have to think of something else. You have to think about Plan B and what's coming next, just in case. This comment from Kaylin Baby says, Native American communities are afraid of what it does to their lands and the risk to their water. Isn't that an issue? Yeah, I already went over that, Kaylin Baby, in the references that I shared. So I tried to present both sides of this. In my opinion, however we decide to create energy, we need to do it. We need to make sure it's as safe as possible. So I'm not for just blindly just like in Avatar 2. AB, did you see Avatar 2?
I haven't had a chance to see Avatar 2 yet.
Well, it was themed. Well, I think Avatar 1 was themed the same way too. Your big evil company coming in, destroying everything, taking resources from the land.
Right.
In Avatar 2, it was taking a special resource from a whale species on Pandora. But I'm not for that. I'm for doing it in a way that's safe and also as protective of the environment as possible. But being realistic about it, and that for things to go on, we need those energy resources. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm for doing it as safe as possible, but we have to be realistic about the situation. Because I'm for clean energy, but right now we have to find a balance because right now clean energy doesn't output the same kind of energy that fossil fuels and nuclear does, and we're just going to have to find a safer way to do it.
Okay. Aquateki, thank you for the generous Cash App. I'm going to play one of your salutes here. Go, Professor. I'm sorry, I don't have a salute for you. Aquateki, when I do these, he typically... Sorry?
No, I said salute Aquateki.
Yeah, he typically throws something in the collection plate, so I made up some special drops for him. For those of you who don't know, his avatar is of Jazz from the Transformer. Jazz was one of the original Autobots when the series first started. And so I made these for Aquateki from the 1986 Transformers movie.
Roger me, will call me, anything. Hello, Earth.
Thank you, Aquateki. That is the voice of Scatman Crothers. Scatman Crothers provided the voice for Jazz. So thank you, everyone. Like I said, I accidentally paid for another year of StreamYard, which I didn't intend to do. I won't say what that costs. It's, well, I guess thinking about today, it's not a lot of money, but when you're running a business, a small business or whatever, you got to manage all your costs and
you do
and do the cost benefit analysis of what you should keep and what you should not. Anyway, AB Media, do you have any other thoughts on any of this? I think it's interesting. It's just important for people to understand what people vote for different reasons. People vote for different reasons. Candidates reverse positions or adopt certain positions for certain reasons. And I think this one is notable. And I think this topic for a number of voters is just going to go over their head because some voters are focused on skin color. They're focused on identity politics. They're focused on something being the first thing for the first time. Or sometimes voters are focused on one issue in particular, like gun rights or Roe versus Wade, but this one right here, this energy thing, it affects everybody, regardless of what your single voter issue is. If there's no energy, you're gonna feel it.
Yes.
Okay. If there's little energy, you're gonna feel it. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say, AB Media, before I wrap up?
Energy is very important, and it's something that we have to take seriously. And it's not, and willing. I hate to say it like this, but pie in the sky, clean energy. While it sounds nice, you have to be realistic, and you have to look at all the factors.
Mhm.
When you talk about this, your cell phone uses energy. Hence the reason you have to charge it every plug it in all the time. That's because it needs more energy.
Yep, that's right. So I mean, our bodies need energy. Everything
Yes.
needs energy.
In fact, I'm about to eat something when I get off of here.
That's right. Everything needs energy for everything we do. Everything needs energy. All right, AB Media, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'll see you on the YouTube streets. Thank you for coming up and giving your 2 cents.
Not a problem.
Anthog Anthog says, drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Okay. Everybody, you know what? So I'll end with that. So that matters. That matters. That especially in an election year, these things, these conversations are very politically charged. And when you see something like drill, baby, drill, it I'm sure in some people it ignites. Well, there goes those Republicans, and they just care about money, and they just care about keeping their pockets fat, and they just care about that. They don't care about the environment. But I think that if you could do it in a safe way, I say why not? Why not? Because our entire way of life here in the United States, is predicated upon cost-effective energy, economical energy. And once that energy goes up, the price of everything is going to go up. Okay. And all of this will look a whole lot different. And that's the other thing. I should have said this when AB Media was here. That's the other part, everybody. That's the other part of the puzzle here. Okay, Andre, I'll bring you up for a few minutes. That's why the other part of this puzzle is population. That's why I've said this here. I think that our world leaders, whenever you see the G7 and the all those things, the World Economic Forum, whenever you see those people meeting, one of the things they're looking at is they're looking at us. They're looking at all the countries. They're looking at the world population, and they're kind of saying, we have all these people. We have this amount of fossil fuels. We're having food shortages over here. And they're looking at our population numbers, and some are wondering, what, are there too many people here? Maybe it's better if we have fewer people. Okay, those conversations are being had, and one of the considerations for that conversation is, will there be enough energy for everybody around the world? Andre, what say you?
Yeah, I would agree with you and AB that like if it could be done in a safe way or as safe as possible, then like I don't see the issue with it. And to the comment that Buddy said in the chat that you pulled up, like when he was talking about like the native communities, like not all natives are against it. Some of them are actually benefiting from it. Well, at least over here, like there's a native reserve here that they apparently found a bunch of oil on their land, and that one tribe like became like they made billions off of this because they were able to like make a deal with the company so that like all their people that lived on that specific reserve were able to work for the company and stuff. and like be in positions of power. So because I have seen that argument before that, the native people are against it, and that's not completely true. Not all of them are against it. Some are.
Yeah, that's a good point right there, and that's that whenever news is shared on topics like this, oftentimes one half of it is omitted. So yeah, there are Native American tribes and individuals on those lands who do say, look, there's an economic benefit to this. Let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, that I think I attended a science writing conference last year in Colorado, where there's a significant Native American population, and one of the things I learned was that in a lot of Native American tribes and lands, there's infighting over energy, over this type of thing. Well, over a number of things, but there's infighting over what should be done with the land and what should be allowed on the land. And I mean, just like our greater society, there's a lot of infighting over what should be done and how it should be done, and how much money we're going to make, and what are the benefits, and what are the costs. Aquateki says, yeah, here you go. EVs require lots of rare earth metals. The mining process to obtain them is energy intensive and can be environmentally destructive. Yeah, so everybody, there's a cost to everything. I mean, EVs, they're sold as a panacea in terms of these are better than combustion engines, but that initial energy input, in all cases, it has to come from somewhere. And I think, for some reason, I'm thinking about the first law of, what is it? Matter is neither created nor destroyed. But anyway, the energy source has to come from somewhere. Andre, do you have anything else? I need to wrap this up.
Oh, okay, no problem. Even because not trying to make it political or anything, but even I was listening to Trump saying something the other day at one of his rallies, I guess, and he did actually bring up EVs as well. He was like, I have no issue with EVs. It's not it's not going to be sustainable for everybody to have them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, sir. Well, I will see you on the YouTube streets. Thank you for coming up and giving your thoughts on this thing.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So everyone, what I was just thinking about, and it will probably occur to me once we finish, the first law of matter. The first law of matter. Matter is neither created nor destroyed, as stated by the first law of the conservation of mass. And I was just thinking, the energy input, whether you're talking about an electric vehicle or a combustion engine, that energy input has to come from somewhere. It'll occur to me later on how this relates to the first law of matter, but I'm not bridging it right now. All right, one more comment here. UFO Kamikaze says, lives on ancestral Native American privately owned land with a railroad nearby. Oh, you live. That's funny. You're pointing to your picture. He says, lives on ancestral Native American privately owned land with a railroad nearby. Just a matter of time until an offer is made to sell. Okay. All right, everybody. I have to wrap up and do some other things. Michigan comes on in 40 minutes, and I have something to do that's more important than that. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. It's a science topic. So as I said, for our people, these topics aren't always the most sexy, but this one in particular is very, very important in light of what's happening now in our country in terms of the current election cycle, but also going into the future. This is something for everybody to think about. So, the ant dog. Go Buckeyes. All right. Sounds like you're an Ohio guy. So guys, the link to my newsletter is in the description box below. And I think the link to my book project is in the description box below. I will be talking some more about that. I'm about to order some author copies. I think all the updates are made. You know what, guys? I'm going to play this little commercial here because you'll start seeing this now that it's gone through a proofread and a scrubbing. I will share more of this, but my short time playing on my high school team, that taught me a lot about how to succeed and how to persevere. And it in part led to me earning my PhD. So, because when you're doing a PhD, a big part of it is teamwork. And also it's not giving up. It's figuring out how to get up off the mat every day and continuing to grind. So I'll play this really, really quickly, and then I will shut the stream down. This is a minute long.
From a personal thing, I valued winning over scoring.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, if I could have scored, I think I might have finished my career 10 points a game my senior year. But if I would have scored 15, and we would have never, it takes how many possessions away from, or how many, minutes off the clock or whatever. I mean, does that make sense? I'd rather win than get mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I still think some guys, they would rather win too, but they also wanted to get theirs.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to balance, especially when you're, 15, 16, 17 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was one of the 43 interviews I conducted with Chris Suter. He was a senior my first year on the basketball team, and my high school basketball team, and we were talking about teamwork. And he was making the argument that he would rather sacrifice for the group in order to win. And some guys they want to win, but they also want to get theirs. And that's not an easy thing to manage for youngsters, but also pro players and college athletes as well. So it's about teamwork. And I think that relates back to, in a way that relates back to our current country and the things that our country is facing. What's better for the team, and also what's better for the individual. And that's hard to get people to agree. It's hard to get people to agree on that. It's hard to get people to agree on most things. Yeah, Andre, in high school, like a lot of kids, early on, I dreamt of being an athlete, and I took a stab at it. And sometimes for most kids, the road leads someplace else ultimately. But that's a short commercial on it. That's a QR code if you guys think you want to purchase a copy. That's the QR code, and the link is below. And if you want to, for my subs, if you want a discounted price, I can get you a discounted price from the list price. Anyway, everybody, thank you for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and until next time. Yeah, I still have 2 pieces of my Dr. Lee Phillips interview to upload. I've just been jammed up with the book and everything else, but look for those and look for more live streams. I want to get back to doing this, and this is fun interacting with you guys and presenting these topics. So I'll talk to you again soon. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.